everyone, my name is Tina and welcome to the G Sport Hub. And in case you haven't heard the big news that this whole video is gonna be about, LJL lost its Worlds and MSI seed. Now what this means, exactly what happened to LCO, the Oceanic League, a while back. So now both LJL and the LCO are gonna be going through the PCS Playoffs if they wanna get to the international competition. But that's a massive info dump and I have a lot to say about it, so let's just start at the very beginning. So while this exact conversation started about a year ago, it's worth to know what is the climate that LJL was operating in. PC gaming was never popular in Japan for various reasons. Probably I could make a whole video about just that topic, until around 2018 with PUBG, when a lot of Japanese players started buying PCs to play PUBG and the whole Battle Royale genre. And this process absolutely accelerated with COVID when people were locked inside. I think there are some statistics that the whole PC market doubled during these COVID years. So PC gaming is getting popular in Japan, but not League of Legends. League of Legends is kind of this old game with the community having all of its reputation as well. Obviously, there's this new shiny game. I'm not sure if you heard about this, Valorant, but League of Legends is not popular, and all the popular League of Legends streamers kind of started shifting into Valorant as well because that's the new thing. And this is the situation we are in during COVID, when also everything had to go online. And ever since then, LJL has never returned to offline, besides just like one finals this year. The average viewership was also declining. The whole academy scene and the whole developmental scene was not really working either. Academy was getting down and downsized as the years went by. More imports came to the region. Obviously, some imports have stayed here for multiple years, so they became LJL residents. And even teams who try to have a full Japanese team, we all know what happened to them. So the general interest in the league has went down, and DFM's year is just absolutely made everything worse. I made several videos explaining exactly what happened with Totsu during MSI. That explains their bad result there. Then obviously there came the huge drama. Utapon had to swap top lane. I personally don't understand why they didn't try to run that team at Worlds. But Worlds came, it really didn't work out. They tried to put Utapon back to bot lane. It was a whole mess and horrible year for DFM also in Valorant. It was a horrible year for DFM. There was a massive doomy vibe ever since the whole DFM drama started basically. Let's get into the first little thing. Exactly one day after Worlds Finals, November 20, Riot Jaker, who is in Valorant, but he tweeted out that before we even had the time to recover for Worlds 2023, we hosted a full day offsite with an APAC esports teams to talk about next year's plans already. And even though he's in Valorant, you can see the little brochure, pamphlet. And it doesn't just have Valorant Game Changer specific, which is, by the way, that's also gonna be new, but that's Valorant. There are also League of Legends regions here with the PCS, BCS, LJL, and LCK and LCU as well. LCK, I have no idea what it's doing here because there's no way LCK is ever gonna be integrated in this specific region, but they are there, just like in Valorant, they're in the Pacific region. This is the first sign that something was going on. And after this meeting happened on November 20, I kept hearing stuff about this rumor that LJL is not gonna have a direct slot anymore. And it wasn't just inside the scene, there has been signs that something is gonna happen. DFM had a fan meet shortly after, which was very melancholic, if I could describe it with one word. As well as Hachimecha, who was a jungler for Fennel, he had a stream that ever since then he deleted the VODs, but he talked about how he was thinking about retiring because he can't find a job in LJL anymore. And he also has a kid who he can't look after if he has to work as like an analyst or sub-coach because the payment wasn't there. And while I kept hearing rumblings about what went down in this meeting, it was November 24 when I gathered enough information to finally confirm that yes, LJL is not going to have a seed anymore. This is what happened with Oceania, so we are gonna be in the PCS Playoffs now. A few days after I tweeted this out, there came today the official announcement. So let's go through this together. Starting next season, the PCS ecosystem will continue expansion to include LJL. This follows the inclusion of the LCO earlier this year. Again, the same thing would happen with them. Same thing is happening to LJL now. This evolution is part of our multi-year strategy to strengthen our league esports ecosystem in the Asia-Pacific region. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we'll have more updates in the future, but for now we want to share our key principles that will guide development of league esports in the region. First of all, create a unified Pacific League. Again, what happened in Valorant, and you can see even in the LCS, what just happened in North America, every single region is trying to go towards the Valorant system. There are these hotspots, and having these massive regions are just good for entertainment. It's much easier and also much more money effective to run. So definitely you can see why Riot wants these. Create a unified Pacific League that can become a powerhouse in a global League of Legends esports ecosystem. We hope that by giving teams a chance to test their mettle against other strong competitors in a pan-regional level, we can improve the quality of all pro teams and foster a higher level of competition across a multi-tiered ecosystem. This is something I want to be interested in because I'm honestly not against a super region. If it was just like in Valorant, when there is one Pacific region and a strong tier 2 ecosystem, I'm fine with that. I myself absolutely love the VCD Pacific as well as VCG, the Japanese tier 2 system, but that's because there is a strong tier 2 system. So I don't know how they're going to ensure there is a talent development. Most likely they won't. If Australia is anything to go by, they just won't. But yeah, this would be a dream scenario. Improve the fan experience by providing quality broadcast products in English, Japanese, Mandarin, and Cantonese, and more hyper-local experiences across the region. Fans can look forward to diverse matchups between existing PCS teams, LGLs, and LCO teams, and it will be easier than ever to get league updates and match information via unified PCS social channels. Okay, the last one is I don't think this is really like. I don't think it was a problem anyways, but maybe in the English broadcast, like they said that providing quality broadcast in English, maybe finally to a degree, LJL English is going to happen officially. I really hope they're going to hire someone like Nightmara to cast the LJL matches in PCS and just not going to be PCS casters. Nothing against them, but like, I just hope this would be a quality broadcast. Just saying. Finally, create a more sustainable esports ecosystem where pro players and organizations can grow. This consolidation is the first step towards providing pro teams with a bigger platform with new fan bases and viewer potential. I can see why they say this, but looking at the LJL teams not producing basically any content, actually players have started streaming. A lot of players have started streaming just recently, so that's good. That's a good start. But just teams are really not doing content. DFM maybe, but even them, like all the fan meets are behind the paywall, so they're not really providing just, YouTube videos that much. And I don't know if it's gonna be better, like the 3 teams that get to PCS would provide more vlogs maybe. That would be awesome, but well, one can only hope. And now comes an interesting part, which is, I'm going to talk about this a little. LGL players will also now be considered residents of the PCS, which means they can join any team within the PCS ecosystem without being considered an import player. So in the PCS, if Utapon decides that, hey, I want to join PSG, Utapon can join PSG without taking up an import slot. That's to be expected, to be honest. And now comes the part, however, LGL teams will still require to have at least 3 Japanese players on the roster. This is vague. So what do you mean by Japanese player? Because in Japan, with so many imports we have, this is not as obvious as here's a Japanese player. We have so many LGL residents who are not Japanese players. So what is it now? And it's even more confusing if you check the Japanese version of this article, when they specifically say Nihonjin player, which is Japanese as like a citizen of Japan, Japanese players. But at the same time, the sentence starts with Hikitizuki, which is continuing what was the case so far. I mean, this is one of those cases when probably just someone wrote the English article in like super fast fashion. I mean, the decision that the whole thing is going down happened literally just days ago. So there was absolutely no time for this. I don't fault them. Just a little bit weird, I would say. For example, Steel or Once, who are considered LGR residents, in this, according to this article, they wouldn't count as Japanese players. They would be imports once again. But I don't think it ever happened that like someone's residency status has been taken away. Even in America, when the changes happened, anyone who has already been grandfathered into LCS residency, they just kept it. So I don't know, I think it just means that everything is staying the same, but it's really weird. And also, does this mean that Steel is now a PCS resident? So can he play for a PCS team while not being an import? I really have no idea how it's gonna go down. It's super vague, but I think what it means is that Japanese teams are required still to have 3 Japanese LJL residents. So they can't just get like Carson Maple and be like, hey, they are LJL players. Then onto the roadmap. Similar to when LCO joined the PCS ecosystem last year, the LJL will continue to play its domestic season in Japan. Then the top 3 teams from LJL will seed into the PCS Playoffs and compete with other PCS and LCO teams for a spot at international events such as MSI and Worlds. So it hasn't been confirmed and hasn't been an article talking about how the 2024 season is going to look like. But as we shared on the G-Sport Hot Twitter, from sources we know that likely the team is going to downsize to 6 teams and there are going to be 2 teams leaving. The teams are CGA, Crash Gaming Act, and FL. And this also aligns well with the current situations when so far 3 teams have explicitly said that they're gonna stay in the league. Sengaku Gaming confirmed on Twitter that they're gonna stay in the LJL and keep fighting in 2024, and they hope that everyone is looking forward to their roster announcement, as well as SG founder and COO. He has previously mentioned that they are committed to LJL and they're already recruiting players, and in his latest Twitter post, he just further assured fans that yes, there are going to be downsides obviously of this competition, but it technically also means that it's possible that 2 LJL teams are going to be at Worlds. Not likely, but possible. And he also said that so far in the LJL, teams have been rivals, but from now on it's going to be more interesting because they can also be rivals and friends whenever the 3 teams are going to the PCS. Same goes for Axis, as their CEO Kobayashi tweeted out that also it's a great opportunity for Axis to be at an international stage and fight against strong teams in the Pacific region, and they have to go. So yeah, Axis is also staying in the league for sure. As well as Burning Core, after the CEO Sakaidani Yohei, also known as Pushman, has tweeted out that there is positive aspects to this change because now they can build these relationships in the league and develop new players, and now everyone is gonna get excited for let's send the team to the PCS. It's like extra excitement. And they confirmed that they're gonna stay in the 2024 season, and they're already in the process of signing new players. So those 3 teams are officially confirmed to stay in the LJL. But besides them, DFM has also at least reposted this announcement. Same goes for the Hawks. They have reposted this announcement, so it's expected them to stay in the league. And if you have been counting, that leaves us with the 3 other teams. One of them is V3, who, as far as I know, are gonna stay in the league. They have advertised themselves as the Japanese team with 5 Japanese players. They also have a partnership with the high school, which is also one of the reasons that they are the 5 Japanese team. So they are expected to stay in the league as well. And that leaves us with our 2 teams who are once again heard from sources that are gonna leave the LJL, being Crash Gaming and FL. That most likely is gonna come with the whole format announcement, which I don't know yet what's gonna be. I don't have any leaks for that, but what we know is that it's gonna be a 6-team league, and there are a bunch of formats you can do with 6 teams. For example, VC coach Vaker has tweeted out that one of the reasons that LJL did so poorly this year is because the few amount of games that LJL played. We had a very condensed, just a single round robin split in summer into somewhat of a hybrid kind of year playoffs. With 6 teams, you can do a bunch of amazing formats, be it just double round. They can definitely do double round BO3s, from which the top 4 teams make it into playoffs. So obviously the 2 winners are going to qualify first, and there's going to be the 2 losers who are going to play for PCS qualification. Keep this in mind. Keep this format in mind. Now back to the article. The first place team from the spring split will enter MSI, while the 2 top teams from the summer split will qualify for Worlds. I don't really like it. I don't know what's gonna happen with LJL's seed, because if you calculate it in your head, LJL used to be at MSI and LJL used to be at Worlds, and now what's happening with that seed? They left this seed very vague, and just the whole qualification very vague, which leads me to believe that there are going to be changes to the global system, be it expanding the World's qualification series, which I can see maybe sending in another seed from Brazil, from Latin America, from maybe sending in another seed from PCS. I can see, and those are not counting as Worlds, by the way, so they can still stay this. They don't count as Worlds. They can maybe send another seed to VCQ, VQS. Let's just go to LCQ. Just be Valorant, just called LCQ. So I could say that would be optimal, but leaving everything so vague leads me to believe that there's going to be another announcement from Riot Global sometime in December. Now then, PCS Playoffs format. The top 3 teams from the LJL will move on to the PCS Playoffs, where they will join the top 6 teams from the PCS and the top 2 teams from the LCO. The PCS Playoffs will now be divided into 2 stages, with 3 top seeds placed directly into the stage 2. What does this mean? This is another part where I'm like kind of puzzled. Like, why they left it so vague? Here's the thing. I think there are 2 interpretations that this could mean. Does this mean the 3 top teams from PCS? Like, those are the top seeded teams? Or does this mean the first one from LJL, the first one from LCO, and the first one from PCS? In this case, you would want to with LJL because then you would be in the stage 2 directly seeded there. I think it would make the most sense to have each region's top seed seeded there. But like the 3 top seeded teams, their explanation is really not good. Let me explain it. Let's just say hypothetically that we have the top LJL team already seeded as like the first seed. We have the top LCO the same way and the top PCS again the same way. I think this would make the most sense. So let's just say they're in stage 2, which would then leave us with another 2 seeds from LJL who are gonna be in stage 1, 1 more LCO team who's gonna be in stage 1, and 5 more PCS teams again in stage 1. So how this stage 1 looks like, it's basically the same as the Worlds playing format. It's a GSL format. So that means all these teams are going to be randomly sorted into 2 groups. For now, we don't know if there's going to be any restrictions, like the LJL teams have to be in different groups or something. I don't know, whatever. We're going to have 8 teams who are competing in stage 1. And that means 4 teams in group A and 4 teams in group B. Obviously, that means in group A, we're going to have 2 matches. Those 2 winners are going to have another match. Whoever wins that one qualifies as one of the seeds. Whoever wins their match is going to qualify as one of their seeds. While the loser of these 2 matches are going to have a game, just a normal low bracket. Again, same thing goes down here, just a normal low bracket. We're going to play the low bracket A, the low bracket B, and who's going to win that is going to have another seed. So we have 1, 2, 3 like play-in seeds. It's kind of the same as in Worlds play-ins. Is it? Yeah, they call it actually play-ins. And after that, it's going to be just a totally normal double elimination with 2 direct seeds in round 2, which I would expect to be a PCS one and LJL one. I think so, but I don't know. Once again, I don't really know if they would do PCS 1 to 3 or I don't know. But you can just exchange teams in this hypothetical format and you see what's going to be the end result. Anyways, whoever is victorious here, 1 seed is going to go to MSI and 2 seed is going to go to Worlds. And maybe more to whatever LCQ or World Qualifying Series we have if they expand it. I mean, they have to expand it because otherwise the seeds just wouldn't really add up. And this is basically it. I've been talking for quite a long time now. While I was editing the video, I have noticed they added a new thing. It wasn't there when I checked it out first. More details on seeding distribution will be shared soon. Maybe then the first 2 are gonna be the PCS 1, 2, and then the one in round 1 is gonna be LJL. I don't know, but we're gonna find out later. That's all we know. Twitter, I'm gonna post on Twitter whenever we know. Back to the video. Looking forward, this approach to enhance the competitiveness of our sport will continue for years to come. We recognize that this is a big change and we expect there to be some growing pains as we expand the league. However, we are confident that this development will ultimately have to make our league more sustainable for the future. We hope you'll continue to join us as we work to elevate the LoL esports experience in our region even further. So, what just happened now? What was the reaction of the Japanese community to this news? I mean, to one degree, it has been leaked before, so people have been kind of knowing that it's coming. And also, just for the whole year, the whole vibe was that, yeah, this is probably gonna come. After what happened to Oceania, I think everyone had this little thought in their minds that, yeah, we are the next. And by the way, whenever I posted the rumor on the G Sport Hub Twitter account, I've seen a lot of people from Latin America having the same feelings that we in Japan had when Oceania was announced. So it's kind of like, oh, are we the next? But besides result, the average viewership has been going down. We have been online forever. The payment was absolutely unsustainable and bottom teams couldn't really even pay that much. So a lot of pro players and especially staff members had second jobs. LJL was not in a good shape. I think we can all agree on that one. In short term, bad. Obviously in short term, very bad. I think something had to change. And this is what I get as a reaction from 5chan and from Twitter. Something had to happen. I talked about Hot Match's stream before. He deleted the VOD, so it's not possible to watch anymore. But he was talking about how he is considering retiring because even though he thinks that he is the third best jungler in Japan, it just, because he's not a Korean jungler, teams won't even look at him. Because he's 30 years old, teams just won't even consider him. And in his words, teams got to a point where they don't even really consider Japanese players. They try to get the Korean imports to the most important roles, for example, jungle and mid lane. When they got those Korean imports, then they start, filling up the other slots with either Korean players who became Japanese residents or Japanese players as a last case resort. But as I said before, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some people who are saying that, hey, that means that there is a possibility that 2 LJL teams can make it to Worlds. Imagine if 2 LJL teams make it to Worlds. Now that would be a comeback, That would be I am subscribed to that timeline. But anyways, just as a final thought, because this has been also brought up by a lot of members of both 5chan and Twitter. A lot of fans, especially global fans, are curious about the power levels LJL compared to the PCS. Because if you watch LCO, they are not doing well in the PCS. Let me just say that. In case you don't know, these 3 regions, LJL, PCS, and VCS, they have this scream bubble. So those 3 regions have been screaming all the year. And from what I heard, PSG was by far the best team. But besides them, it was somewhat equal. So even if LJL is not going to make it to the top 2 the first year, I hope they can take at least the matches off. I think it's much more likely for them to take matches off than LCO. So I'm honestly looking forward to the PCS. And now I need to watch one more league because I need to, see the enemies. And hey, if Riot PCS, is it Riot Taiwan? Who runs that? I mean, this APAC, United APAC, new organization. I don't think they're an organization. But if anyone from the PCS would want someone to tell LJL stories, the G Sport Hub is here. I'm open. I'm open for all the stories. But people who know more about the league, people who know their players, who have been watching their players for years, obviously people like Nymera, Initialize, and Mask Swan, those people has to be on the PCS broadcast. I really hope they're gonna be there. Could be good if teams are bonding together, making content, the top 3 teams traveling to Taiwan or wherever the finals is gonna be. And also interestingly, some of the players, for example, Yellow Yoshi, I have noticed recently, has started playing on the Taiwanese server because the Japanese server has its own problems, obviously. So maybe the players are gonna play more on the Taiwanese server when they can meet with other players who are probably not playing there because they're playing on the Korean server. Give back Korea, okay? This is the last thing. Give back the Korean server access. Please, Riot. Please. I was seen with the G Sport Hub, which is at G Sport Hub on all social media that is out there. Follow us on them and you're gonna see all the news that's gonna come probably in the next upcoming weeks. I don't know if it's gonna be the last video that I do this year in G Sport Hub, depending on when the LJL format comes out and how different it is, or when the team announcements come out. Depending on all of those things, I may do one more video this year. But until then, I really thank everyone for staying with me this whole year. This was G Sport Hub's first year, and when I started it, I just started with one goal: to condense all the League of Legends and Valorant related stuff that I want, because I have been tweeting about LJL things before, I have been translating stuff before, but never in like a condensed hub. That's why I wanted to make the G Sport Hub, to just store all of them in one place for all the people who are interested in. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna have another video this year or not, but thank you very much for everything that happened, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.